fall? Inconceivable. You keep using the word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and today I'm going to cover the recent decrease in box office projections for Captain Marvel and why it happened. Brie Larson is set to star as the MCU's next big superhero, and right off the bat, she began posting several photos of her researching the role. Comic book fans took notice of her seeming lack of interest in the character, and these negative impressions culminated in her posting this photo on Instagram with the caption, "Thinking about Stan, what a legend, R.I.P." After the great Stan Lee passed away in November. While the sentiment was good, many fans felt her need to make the tribute all about her mixed drink, and her custom handbag a bit insensitive to say the least. And she quickly deleted the post. Larson has a history of social media gas, but honestly, upsetting the comic book community isn't enough to put a dent in an MCU film's box office these days. As recently as January 11th, Box Office Pro reported the film was tracking for an enormous $140 to $180 million opening over the March 8th weekend. Box Office Pro cited the demand for a female-driven MCU film, Brie Larson's casting, advanced ticket sales, early trailer reactions, and the 90s setting playing well with millennial and Gen X customers as contributing factors for the forecast. They also predicted the film would be challenging The Hunger Games' $152 million, Batman v Superman's $166 million, and Beauty and the Beast's $175 million as the all-time opening weekend box office record for March. It looked like Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios had another certified blockbuster opening, along the lines of Black Panther, on their hands. Likely well on its way to flirt with a billion-dollar global box office. Skip forward to 14 February, and box office estimates have been rolled back to $100 million. Still very strong, but not nearly the success projected just over a month ago. Some box office watchers are suggesting that with enthusiastic word of mouth, Captain Marvel could reach as high as $120 million, still well under the original $140 to $180 million estimates. This has likely left executives at Marvel Studios and parent company Disney asking, how did the film drop as much as $80 million in projections in just over a month's time? The studio just released the film's final trailer during the Super Bowl, and most MCU fans agreed it's the most effective marketing to date. Not so coincidentally, Brie Larson started ramping up her marketing efforts for the film during this time and has made several provocative political statements disillusioning potential customers. If this all sounds familiar, it is. Several films the past few years have taken to using current-day politics to promote their films, to mostly disastrous results. Most famously, the 2016 all-female Ghostbuster reboot decided to market the entire film around the gender of the cast, leading to friction between the actors and customer base. You would think that almost 3 years later, a highly oiled machine like Marvel Studios under Kevin Feige would be strategic enough to keep the message all about how great the character and movie are. But that hasn't been the case, and Brie Larson is following her Ghostbusters peers into a personal marketing campaign all about her beliefs rather than the quality of the film. Brie made headlines in early February when she claimed Captain Marvel as my form of activism, using the platform the MCU is providing her to promote her own personal agenda rather than focus on selling the quality of the movie. In an interview, Larson said, "The movie was the biggest and best opportunity I could have ever asked for. It was like my superpower. This could be my form of activism. Doing a film that can play all over the world and be in more places than I can be physically." Larson believes her role will allow her to create a pipeline for women and people of color to join the various roles in the production of a film. This is a great idea, but begs the question, why couldn't she do it before? She's already an Oscar-winning actress and has starred in multiple successful films. Why does she need to use Marvel Studios IP to deliver her personal message? And why is Marvel Studios even allowing it? Just 1 week later, and Larson was again in the news. Not for promoting what an awesome film Captain Marvel is, or how the character can be a role model for young women. This time she decided to express her desire for the Captain Marvel press tour to be less white and male. Pretty weird message considering the film needs white male customers to be as successful as possible at the box office. Black Panther co-stars Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan, both minorities, never singled out anyone's race or gender as reason they shouldn't be on their press tour. They chose to welcome all customers interested in their film, and it resulted in the highest grossing MCU origin film to date. In fact, Larson handpicked Kia Brown, an African-American disabled female journalist, to be her interviewer, which is certainly a nice gesture, but when you hear her reasoning, it loses its positive spin. About a year ago, I started paying attention to what my press days looked like, and the critics reviewing movies, and noticed it appeared to be overwhelmingly white male. So I spoke to Dr. Stacy Smith at the USC Annenberg Inclusion Initiative, who put together a study to confirm that. Moving forward, I decided to make sure my press days were more inclusive. She's essentially granting access to her movie promotion based on race and gender. Denying the access one needs to perform their vocation based on race or gender sounds like textbook discrimination to me. But white males are the devil, so I guess she gets a pass with the press. Unfortunately for her, the press is a very small portion of the movie-going public, and her unabashed racism and sexism have left longtime MCU fans wondering if they want to support the Captain Marvel film. You have to wonder how Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios feel about the damage Brie is doing to their brand and the box office potential of her own movie. If we go back to September, Marvel chose to promote the film on the cover of Entertainment Weekly with the highly divisive slogan, "The future is female." Some predicted this would be a marketing problem for the film, as it's feminist in nature, but was also adopted by Hillary Clinton in her presidential campaign. It didn't seem to hurt projections at the time, but it does indicate Marvel is probably fine with Brie's antics on her press tour. They rolled out the film with a divisive slogan to begin with, even after the failure of 2016 Ghostbusters with similarly divisive marketing efforts. Also under the Disney umbrella, Lucasfilm executives used a similar slogan, "The Force is female." This immediately disenfranchised a large portion of their customer base, and the Disney-led Star Wars films have seen their box office results steadily decline. At this point, you would think the House of Mouse would have learned the negative lessons of promoting films along race and gender lines, but it seems not. If Captain Marvel reaches its current projections of a $100 million opening, the film will still be highly successful. Based on the historical performance of MCU films, it will still likely see a global box office between $600 and $800 million. Of course, there's every possibility that over the next 3 weeks, Larson continues her divisive rhetoric and the film's box office misses even the new $100 million projection. Marvel Studios must be asking themselves how much total money they are costing the studio with a divisive marketing campaign and hyperbolic lead actor using their film as her form of activism. Of course, these are just my opinions. What say you? Are there more factors at play in the decreased opening weekend projection? Have the antics of Brie Larson killed your enthusiasm for the film? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.